What if Ripple just secretly laid the final brick in a financial empire decades in the making? I had no intention of recording a video today. My bags are packed. I'm heading for the airport. But then the news broke. It's the kind of news that you can't ignore, the kind that forces you to drop everything and hit record because a seismic shift just occurred. Ripple just made two monumental announcements, one right after the other, and it feels like they've been listening, not just to me, but to the deep undercurrents of the market. We're going to dissect their latest acquisition, a move so strategic it's breathtaking. But first, we need to talk about the other piece of news, a billion-dollar maneuver that could inject a massive dose of adrenaline directly into the price of XRP. The potential here is staggering, and we're going to explore exactly why this might be the beginning of a very, very bullish chapter. Before we dive into the intricate details of Ripple's master plan, I need to be upfront. The insights we're about to discuss are just the tip of the iceberg. To truly navigate the monumental shifts happening in the financial world, you need more than just news updates. You need a strategy. That's why I created the XRP Millionaire Blueprint. This isn't some simple PDF guide. It is the culmination of over a decade of intensive research, hands-on investment experience, and countless hours analyzing market cycles. It's a step-by-step roadmap designed to teach you how to spot the next colossal opportunities long before the rest of the world catches on. If you're ready to move beyond guessing and start strategically positioning yourself for the future, the link is waiting for you in the description below. Now, let's look at the market's immediate reaction. We saw XRP jump to 239, a flicker of excitement, only to be pulled back down by the broader crypto market's gravitational force. Bitcoin is hovering around $108,000. Ethereum is struggling to hold $3,900, and a general malaise has settled over the digital asset space for the past few days. We're nearing the end of October, a month that many had pinned their hopes on. I remember the chorus of voices chanting, "October, October, October," predicting a massive bull run. Yet I urged caution, remembering last year's saga where the October prophecy failed to materialize. And just as anticipated, this year followed a similar, more subdued path. Some might say I simply cover all possibilities, but the truth is the market is a chaotic beast. We never know what geopolitical tensions will flare up or what unexpected policy changes will be announced. The day-to-day, week-to-week movements are shrouded in fog. But that's exactly why you need to pay close attention. Because amidst this short-term noise, a much larger, more significant story is unfolding. There is a powerful reason why simply sitting on the sidelines clutching onto fiat currency might be the single most dangerous financial decision you can make right now. We'll get to that profound truth in a moment. So, what was the first earth-shaking announcement? According to a report from Bloomberg, a source with over 10 million followers, Ripple Labs is spearheading an initiative to raise a staggering $1 billion for the sole purpose of accumulating XRP. Let that sink in. This is a move I have been championing for what feels like an eternity ever since we saw pioneers like Michael Saylor and later Tom Lee make similar moves in the Bitcoin space. I even sent a public message to Brad Garlinghouse asking why Ripple wasn't employing this powerful strategy. And now it appears they're about to do just that. My theory on how they'll execute this is through a brilliant piece of financial engineering. Instead of buying XRP directly on Ripple's books, they could form a secondary subsidiary company. This new entity would raise capital from investors specifically to purchase and hold XRP. And then here's the genius part. They could take that new company public with an IPO. This is the exact playbook Tom Lee used with BMNR. It's a way to create a publicly traded vehicle for XRP exposure, drawing in massive institutional capital without Ripple having to go through the IPO process themselves. It's analogous to a corporate stock buyback, but executed with a level of strategic nuance that is frankly impressive. If they execute this, the direct buying pressure on the open market would be immense and undeniably beneficial for the price of XRP. Of course, the market's reaction was somewhat muted. XRP saw a brief pop, but why wasn't it more explosive? The answer lies in simple mathematics and market sentiment. $1 billion sounds like an astronomical sum, but when you consider XRP's total market capitalization of $140 billion, that 1 billion represents less than 1% of the total value. So a 3% pump on the news is realistically a proportional response. Furthermore, you have to factor in the current market psychology. There's no significant wave of follow-up buying because the algorithms are skittish and human investors are gripped by fear. A quick look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index confirms this. It's sitting at 22, a level of extreme fear we haven't seen since the depths of April. Back in April, that fear dragged XRP down to 1.6363 and Bitcoin to $75,000. We are in a much stronger position now than we were then, but the emotional climate is identical. Historically, not always, but usually moments of such intense fear have preceded significant upward reversals. It doesn't guarantee a bounce, but it's a pattern that has played out time and time again. But the billion-dollar fund was only the opening act. The main event, the move that truly signals Ripple's long-term ambition, was their acquisition of G Treasury. Paul Barron described it perfectly. Ripple just made a $1 billion power move. They aren't just dipping their toes into the corporate treasury space. They are bringing the XRP ledger directly to the finance teams of Fortune 500 companies, the very people who manage trillions upon trillions in capital. He predicts that the legacy financial systems are about to collide head-on with real-time 24/7 crypto-powered payments. The entire financial infrastructure is shifting faster than anyone can comprehend. Imagine a world where a company like Apple needs to pay Microsoft billions of dollars over a weekend. Today, they have to wait for the banks to open on Monday. With this new infrastructure, they could use G Treasury's platform to settle that payment instantly, anytime, any day. To truly grasp the magnitude of this, you need to understand what G Treasury does. Vincent Van Gogh explained it best for those who might not be familiar with this corner of the financial world. G Treasury provides the critical software that allows massive multinational corporations to manage their complex finances, payments, liquidity, cash flow, everything. Their software is the invisible plumbing that connects these giants to the global banking and payment systems, including SWIFT and the new ISO 2022 standard. By acquiring G Treasury along with their other strategic partnerships like Hidden Road and Standard Custody, Ripple is creating a Trojan horse. They can now introduce digital assets directly into the colossal 100 trillion treasury market. They don't need to convince these corporations to buy XRP. Instead, XRP becomes a part of the plumbing, the invisible hyper-efficient rails that power the system. The user interface for the CFOs at these companies doesn't change, but behind the curtain, Ripple will be progressively rolling out faster, cheaper, and more efficient payment rails powered by their technology. That has always been the real game. Brad Garlinghouse himself confirmed this vision in a powerful statement. He declared that Ripple is officially breaking into the $120 trillion corporate treasury payments market. He reminded everyone that payments have always been the primary, most powerful use case for crypto and blockchain, and it's where Ripple began its journey. He described the current infrastructure as complex and inefficient, a system where astounding amounts of cash are trapped, creating friction and unnecessary costs. With G Treasury, which has served household name brands for decades, Ripple will now empower CFOs to manage all of their assets, fiat stablecoins, tokenized deposits on a global scale. They can even put their idle capital to work through repo markets. The opportunity is no longer a distant dream. It's here, and Ripple is diving in headfirst. This is happening now. This is a monumental piece of news for Ripple and the entire XRP ecosystem, signaling a long-term strategy that is now coming into full view. Now, we must address the elephant in the room, the macroeconomic storm that makes all of Ripple's moves not just smart, but essential for survival. Confidence in traditional fiat currencies has utterly collapsed. Absolutely no one with serious capital wants to hold cash right now. We have concrete data showing that cash allocations for institutional investors have plummeted to just 3.8%, the lowest level seen in 12 years. Central banks are cornered with rate cuts looking inevitable even as we face stagflation. Global debt has ballooned by another 14 trillion in a single quarter, reaching a mind-boggling record of $337.7 trillion. In this environment, you have only a few choices. You can buy stocks that are already at record highs. You can pile into traditional safe havens like gold and silver, or you can venture into the world of crypto. Meanwhile, corporations are pouring hundreds of billions into artificial intelligence, and governments are about to join this AI arms race, which will inevitably be funded by printing even more money. This brings us to a fundamental, inescapable truth. You must own assets or you will be left behind. Your dollars, your euros, your yen, they are all losing purchasing power by the day. Asset owners are desperately looking for any possible way to defend their wealth from this silent erosion. As investors, we can only play the hand we are dealt. Think about it in historical terms. If you bought a modest house in the 1970s for $50,000, that same property today could easily be worth $400,000 or $500,000. But what if you had just kept that $50,000 in a bank account? Today, that same amount of cash can't even buy you a decent car, let alone a house. My grandmother used to tell stories of going to the movies for a nickel. Today, that same experience costs $10 or $15. That is the relentless, brutal power of inflation over time. The good news is, by being here, by being interested and engaged in investing, you already understand this principle. You are already ahead of the curve. The path forward will not be without its challenges. There will always be risk. There will always be volatility, especially in a net market like crypto. It's why I constantly emphasize the inherent risks and the potential for wild swings. But with great risk can come great reward. I have personally witnessed people achieve life-changing wealth in this space, just as I have seen others lose fortunes. The same is true for the stock market, for real estate, for any form of investment. Every time you invest, you are taking a calculated risk. And in a world where the very foundation of money is changing, not taking a risk might be the biggest gamble of all. This is the moment to equip yourself with the knowledge to not just survive the coming financial shift, but to thrive in it. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. My guide, the XRP Millionaire Blueprint, was created for this exact moment in history to provide you with a strategic framework built on a decade of experience. It's your chance to learn how to position yourself for what's next and potentially secure your financial future for generations to come. Grab your copy using the link in the description. The financial world is being rebuilt from the ground up right before our very eyes. The question is no longer if this change will happen, but whether you will be positioned to benefit from it. The pieces are moving on the board and the game has already begun.